Hey, you guys, good morning. I am here for our weekly recap of all the things that I have been talking about with my clients over the past week, all the therapists that I'm working with, and also what I have been working on in my own business. And so, with these weekly recaps, I'm kind of like sharing the different things that we have gone over and how it is affecting our businesses and changing things for the better. And I'm really excited about today's weekly recap because I've just seen this over and over and over again. And I was just talking to two people, I think in Messenger this morning before I got on here with you today. So I hope that this will be helpful for you. I know for a fact this is something that is like a huge sticking point for a lot of therapists. So I'm really excited to share. So what we are going to be talking about today and like what I've been seeing is a lot of people have been telling me like, okay, I'm getting leads. There are people inquiring about services on my website. I'm having people call me, email me, text me, asking for, primarily physical therapy, but also occupational therapy, speech therapy, whatever it is. They've been contacting me and asking me for services. But then when I talk to them about how amazing my services are, either they say like, oh, not right now, or they say, I would rather use my insurance, or they say, let me think about it and I'll get back to you. And I want to give you a really, really good tool to help kind of like combat one of these objections on the call. Whether it's like a free consult, a discovery call, a sales call, like whatever you call it, whatever the process is in your workflow and in your sales pipeline and bringing clients on caseload. This will be a really, really helpful tool. So for all of you guys out there who are struggling with like bringing on and converting leads into paying clients, I think this will be really helpful. Specifically for, the people that you talk to that ask about insurance, because like I've had maybe like a handful of people ask me about insurance in the past year, but most of the time people just come up and ask if I can help them, and I say yes. Great, like let's set it up. This is what it looks like. I don't get a lot of inquiries about insurance, but I know that there are some people out there who do, so this is one thing you can use to kind of have a different conversation about insurance besides just like, no, I don't take it. This is also something that you can use if people are saying like, oh, like, let me think about it, or I have to check like what my benefits are, or, whatever it is, whatever reason it's not converting. And if this sounds like you, one of the like things that you're bringing up on your consults, this would be really helpful. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I have a little presentation for you guys to kind of outline everything. So the big idea is explaining features versus benefits. And I'll give examples of these in a little bit to kind of show you guys like what you're probably doing, what I've done in the past, what I still do sometimes by accident, and why we're not converting. So features versus benefits. And the trap that I think that a lot of us fall into is explaining all of the features instead of explaining the benefits of working with you. And what is going to convert people is if you're able to successfully communicate the benefits versus the features. I think I'll talk about basically most people don't care about the features. We are the only people who care about the features of working with us. So features are like all of the deliverables and the format of delivery of the result, all of the tech specs. So like if somebody calls you and says, hey, like I really, I hurt my shoulder, I think I really need services. Can you help me? Like, what do you do? And then if you launch yourself into, oh yeah, I'm a mobile therapist, or I do telehealth and it's one-on-one care. And, I can really provide like high quality experience because it's one-on-one care. Those are like all the features. So it's kind of like the how And like, these are only things that like really matter to us because we think they're really cool, which I'll get into in a little bit. But the clients don't care. They want to know that you can help them achieve the outcome and that you can get them results. And so we'll talk about that in a second too. But just to kind of explain like the features a little bit more, to give you guys like a different example outside of like services and stuff, is like with smartphones. So I don't know about you, let me know in the comments, but I'm very much into technology. I've spent a lot of my life looking up the tech specs on smartphones, computers, tablets, all kinds of stuff, and I will like side by side compare them. I'll spend months or weeks doing that, where I'm like, okay, well, this phone has, this much battery power, this one has this much battery power, this one has this much storage, this one has this much storage, and just like weighing the pros and cons, of such like minute details. But in the end, like, it's not those specs that are really going to make a big impact on my life. The reason that I'm looking at them is, say, for example, like with the battery life, if I'm somebody who's like a heavy smartphone user and I'm on the go all the time, I want to know that the battery life is going to sustain a full day of use. And so like, that's the result of the specs, of the features. That's the outcome that I can expect with something that has better features. But my focus is solely on like whether the battery life will last me all day. I could care less about like how many, whatever it is, like gigahertz, megahertz batteries it has. I just want to know that it'll last all day. So that's kind of the difference there. And then if we look at the comparison, so the benefits, the results, the outcomes of the features, this is the why. The features are kind of like the how, and the benefits are the why. And the other thing that I wanted to point out too about like the features is the how, is that you'll notice, and I've noticed too on a lot of my like different consults and everything, that if I start by saying like, oh, you're going to get one-on-one services, you're going to get a digital course, you're going to get like group support, you get a Facebook group, you get this, you get that, you get that, you get that. I kind of like start to lose people. They're not really interested in that. Most of the time, they're just interested in the results. So like by you listing off like all the different things that your clients will get, like, yes, it helps a little bit, but they don't care about how they get there as long as they get the results. And that's what the benefits are. And that's what you need to be explaining to people on your sales calls, on your discovery calls, and in your consults, is why your services can help them achieve the outcome. So like in your experience, why you've seen the way that you have things set up, get the exact results that they're looking for, and why working with you is a better choice than working with the clinic down the street. And I think that's where we kind of get stuck a little bit, is we think that like that why translates to going back to the features, like one-on-one care, high quality service, blah, 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 blah. The why is really like, if you work with me and, we'll go over an example, but say like you're wanting to lose weight, and I've worked with people who are exactly like you, and I've gotten them X results in X number of weeks. That's the why that people are looking for you to say. So let me know in the comments what you guys think about that. So, when you're on these calls, I really want to make it clear to you guys that, when you're trying to convert somebody, you need to be talking to them about the benefits and the outcomes of your services and working with you, not the features, not the how. Nobody really cares. And I think a good example of this is telehealth. I would say like most of the time we think telehealth is really cool and like virtual services are really cool, but it's kind of like a drop in the bucket for patients. They're like, oh, like that's neat, but like, can you actually fix my knee? Like they don't care whether it's virtual, in person, at their house, at your house, at the gym, whatever. And so like, this is what I want to focus on, is we should not be talking about the features. We should be talking about the benefits and the outcomes. And so here's more examples. And like I said, all the like features of things, there are things that we as therapists think are really cool, especially if you're coming from like a really high volume insurance-based clinic or workplace that was just like driving you insane, and you knew that your clients were not getting, the care that they deserved. When we switched to providing one-on-one services, and I totally understand, like, this is the same way that I felt when I started. I was like, look how cool this is. I'm going to be working with you one-on-one for an hour, and some people might be like, oh, wow, that's cool, but like most people don't really care. So stay away from talking about, besides mentioning it, one-on-one service, high quality care. Most people just expect high quality care anyway. So it's not really like a selling point. On-time appointments, custom program, like I said, telehealth, potentially cheaper option, fixing pain. Those aren't like all these things on this side. They're not really selling points for like 9 out of 10 people. So, you might mention them, but they're not going to be like the big sales discussion that you have with somebody. And it also therefore shouldn't really be in your marketing too much, like in the different posts you're putting out there, different like things in the community. These are not selling points. It's not going to turn anybody's head. The only one that I didn't really mention was like avoiding insurance headaches. I feel like this could kind of go either way, depending on who your population is, but maybe that's a discussion for another time. So what we want to do is start to look at, the benefits or outcomes and explain that these are going to be selling points, and these are also going to change depending on who your audience is. So I have a question here. Would discussing your experience be a benefit? Great question. No. Again, that falls into the category of something that we think is cool. Like, look at all these letters I have. Look at all these different places I worked in the past. Look at this awesome school I went to. Those are not selling points for patients. Those are just important to us, which is cool because it makes you more confident. But it's not going to convert people. The only experience that would be potentially a benefit or an outcome that you could talk about is your experience working with a patient that is exactly like the person that you are talking to right now, and why their experience matches exactly what the lead in front of you is telling you about, and therefore why your lead should work with you, because like you've already done it and you've already helped somebody exactly like them. So like you'll notice that it's just talking about social proof and like your experience working with somebody just like them, not, all your certifications, your degrees, different things you've been involved in like academically and clinically. That's really only important to therapists, not really anybody else. 30 years of experience in a particular niche of pelvic health. And so like as a niche thing, again, like I said, you could mention it. That's going to, prove to somebody on some level that like, what you're talking about. But until they really get to trust you and know that, you have the exact experience of working with a patient like them before, which through your 30 years of experience, you do. That's what's going to build trust, is your stories, talking about patients just like them, not necessarily that you've been practicing for 30 years. That's kind of just like a blip on the radar. Good analogy, compare to previous patients with good outcomes. Thanks, Morgan. Yeah, absolutely. That's super, super powerful. That's helped me convert people a lot before. Patients, especially like with the CrossFitters I've worked with, if I talk about like, oh, your shoulder pain is exactly like, the last 2 patients with shoulder pain that I had. Oh, you have pain with the pull-ups, the kipping, oh, the overhead press, it feels like a pinch, you can't sleep on it. If I can describe their experience like to a T, and then say, I worked with so-and-so, Kim over here, she presented the exact same way. She had your exact same symptoms. And 6 weeks later, after doing my shoulder program, she was back to doing all the workouts in the gym. If you can explain your experience like that, that's going to translate really well, and you're going to get buy-in much faster. So yeah, let me know what you think about that. But just kind of like giving some examples of benefits here, and you can kind of like fill in the blank. So as a result of working with you and fixing their pain, because again, like fixing pain is like more on the feature side. It's kind of bland to say, everybody's looking for their pain to be fixed, but these are all like the deeper reasons why they need their pain fixed. So getting back to working out at the gym regularly so they can lose weight for their wedding, getting rid of stress and anxiety of not knowing how to help their child if their child has special needs, enjoy working at their job again and feel like a relief of knowing that they'll have a paycheck and they'll not have to go on disability because of their back pain. That's the thing that they're really worried about. They're not so much worried about the back pain. This is why they're choosing to call you and do something about it, not just because they have back pain. So let me know what you guys think about that. Another benefit, being able to stay off pills, live a pill-free life, especially for people who are just being like prescribed more medication, which is costing more money. And obviously medication has side effects. So like being able to live a side effect-free life sounds pretty good. If you're somebody who's already heavily medicated, avoiding costly surgery, winning your next competition, making sure that you can try out for the college team without injuring yourself before you even really start your career in sports. These are all the things. These are all the reasons that people are going to pay to work with you, not this stuff. This is boring. This speaks exactly to the lives that our patients are living and why they would choose to do something about it and pay somebody to help them. So let's see, what's the next slide? So when to discuss benefits. So this is something that, comes after already talking to the client or the lead and having a conversation with them about like why they're calling you. And this will probably be a conversation for another day. But usually the process that I go through when I talk to somebody, say they call me and say like, hey, I heard that you help with shoulder pain. I've been having some issues with that. Do you take my insurance? Say the conversation started off like that, which I know would throw a lot of us off. It would probably even throw me off, to be honest, because not that many people inquire about insurance with me. And so it'd be like, ooh, great question. Let's talk about it. So say somebody says that, do you take my insurance? What I would say in turn is, that's a great question. But what I would love to do, if it's okay with you, is ask you a few questions about what you have going on to see if I would even be a good fit to work with you. And if so, we can kind of talk about payment stuff. And if not, I'm happy to refer you to somebody else I know will be able to help you. So in that way, you kind of like redirect the conversation. So instead of it being a conversation about like comparing cost, it's now a conversation about like, can the therapist actually fix the potential patient's problem? That's a lot more important than like what the like type of payment is, this is a whole thing. So like, this is why I said, we'll do a whole other conversation on like sales calls. But you want people to choose you because you can help them with all of this stuff. You do not want to be known as the cheapest option. You want to be known as the best option. And when it like comes to business, there's basically like 3 different things that you can focus on in your marketing, in your sales, and like what your whole mission is about. You can focus on quality, you can focus on convenience, or you can focus on being the cheapest. You're not going to be the cheapest. Why would you want to be known as the cheapest? And then like if there's another place in town or like people are using their insurance so they don't have a copay or whatever it is. Why would you want to be known as the second cheapest? It's not going to serve you in the end. So price point really should not be the focus. You are going to talk to some people where that is going to be the main thing that they're focused on. Okay, maybe you refer them to somebody who does take their insurance and they're not going to be your ideal client anyway. But so getting back to our sales call, do you take my insurance? Great question. Why don't we take some time to talk a little bit more about what you have going on to see if I'd even be, the right person to help you. And if not, I'll refer you to one of my colleagues in town. Is that okay? Yes, great. Then I proceed to ask them about what they have going on. So, tell me about your shoulder pain. What's it affecting? How long has it been like this? How bad is it? What is it preventing you from doing? If you could wave a magic wand and fix it in 3 months, what would your life look like? Why are we trying to solve this problem right now? What made you pick up the phone and call me? Why is it a priority for you to fix this right now? And through that kind of interview process and explaining, or letting the patient explain to you, why it is so important for them to fix what they have going on right now, that lends itself to you then explaining the benefits of working with you. Oh, you have all this knee pain. It's been affecting you for 6 months. You've been slowly putting on weight. You have a wedding coming up next year. You want to be in really good shape. Let's talk about how, I helped a patient just like you. We worked together for about 4 months. And in that time, my patient lost 20 pounds. They're in the best shape of their life. And all their knee pain is totally gone. Usually I work with people one-on-one, and I go over to their house and we do our workouts, do our rehab and everything. It's really easy, simple, to work together, and you get the results that you want. Does that sound like something you'd be interested in? Heck yeah, it does. Sign me up. And you can see that I just casually threw these things in there, but this is what the focus of the conversation is on all of the benefits. So like I was just saying, if you are able to have a conversation with somebody and figure out their why about their why, and their really big why, what the real problem is, then you can now have a conversation about hey, here's why you'd be a really good fit for our services. Example, social proof of previous patient, or your experience with working with this audience in the past. I can schedule you tomorrow. We can get started. Would you like to get started? Does that sound like what you're looking for? And they say yes. And then you're off to the races. If they're still focused on the money aspect, well, I don't know if I can afford it. Then you can have a conversation about creating an option for the person that's in front of you to afford it. Make a payment plan, figure it out. Because if you truly in your heart know that you can help this person get the results that they want, you have a moral obligation to figure it out. I have rarely met people who are so stuck on using their insurance just because. Most people are, if they're able to see the value in something, they're going to be willing to put money on it because they want to get the results. So that's what we have for today. I'll just kind of leave this slide up here for a second, because I feel like this is something that's holding a lot of people back. So, what would be really great is if you are able to create your own features and benefits list. So list out all the things that you would normally say to try to sell somebody. So one-on-one service, high quality care, blah, 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 blah. All the things that you think are cool, but then create a benefits list about how working with you is going to change their life. And that is what is going to sell somebody. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm excited to hear what you think. If anybody puts this into practice, let me know. But I think that this will truly catapult your sales conversations if you're able to speak to the benefits versus the features. More people are going to want to work with you because you're a life changer. which is awesome. So with that, I hope you guys have a good week. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know what questions you have in the comments below, and I will talk to you soon.